friends. Let me know if you are a dairy lover, if you eat it, if you drink it, and you have no issues, or maybe you still consume it, but you feel like junk when you do. Let me know if you avoid it at all costs. And if you do avoid it and you claim you have a very high intolerance to it, is this something that you do try from time to time and you are aware that every time you have it, it really gives you a negative reaction or your body reacts negatively to it? I would really like to have a conversation about this because about 70% of the population is somewhat lactose intolerant, but dairy isn't just made up of lactose, okay? So there's casein, there's whey. And so it's very interesting to me when I work with clients, they tell me they don't do well with dairy, they don't want dairy a part of their plan, and then I ask them what they're consuming, and one of the daily things is whey protein. So friends, I'm here to remind you that if you say you're dairy free, having whey protein does not fit into that whole world, okay? So when it comes to lactose, if you are, and you know for sure lactose is the problem, the part of the dairy your body does not do well with, I want to remind you that you could, if you love it and you really want to eat it from time to time, you could get a digestive enzyme, lactase, that's going to allow you to digest the lactose. It breaks it down. It's more easily digested than without it. So if you want to go down that rabbit hole of digestive enzymes, I highly urge you to get more customization with that. If you've not already heard me talk about the gut microbiome test, the biome test, it allows you to see all the foods that are inflammatory. So you'll see the highly inflammatory, which will be your avoid list. And it's not always going to be that way, but for this moment, and then it shows you all the way down the line to your superfoods. But what it also does is it tells you if you're having issues with these foods, it will give you a customized blend of the vitamins, minerals, and digestive enzymes your body needs. So whether you're doing customized or you're getting it yourself from a different company, just make sure it's a reputable company. I would suggest taking digestive enzymes prior to your meal, if not while you're eating, but if you're taking it way after, it's really not going to have that impact, okay? So that's the first thing I want to talk about is just with dairy, if you know your body reacts in a negative way, then if it's the lactose, you can kind of handle that in a way with the symptoms, at least, by the digestive enzymes. Now, in terms of the casein and the whey, I do find myself, most of my clients getting away from whey protein more to a plant-based is really helpful. So if you are struggling, if you love your whey, which I'll be honest with you, my girl Meredith, she created an amazing product line, grass-fed whey protein, and I think that it tastes amazing. Like, I forgot how amazing whey protein tastes. The texture is far different than our plant-based options, but it's just not what my gut enjoys. It really was pretty gentle today. I'm going to say that, but I feel like if I did it every day, it probably would get me to a place where it was, I was years ago when I changed over. So dairy is inflammatory for me when it comes to whey tolerance. Yeah, so the grass-fed is definitely a much better option. But, for some people, they don't want to spend the money on that. They want to get the cheapo stuff. But regardless, I would suggest just kind of playing around with it and knowing that dairy in itself is not terrible unless you're having highly processed dairy. And I think a lot of times that's what our problem is we're getting all these things that have been pumped with all these other things. And if you just had the quality whole food form, you knew where it was coming from, and that animal was not pumped with all the things, that's where it gets a little bit iffy, right? So I myself, I pretty much only do dairy through quality eggs, grass-fed butter, and do I have it? And then every now and then I'll do a recipe that has cottage cheese. I get the organic whole cottage cheese, whole form, whole fat form. You don't have to get the whole fat, but you can get whatever. Also, if you're doing a kefir or you're doing a regular Greek yogurt, there are benefits, the prebiotic benefits, probiotic. It's really going to be helpful if you're not getting that elsewhere. Okay, so I think it's a juggle. It's really just trying to see what your body is able to, deal with. But I do think in general, if your goal is being your best, most healthiest self, to be able to burn fat efficiently, to be able to not be bloated every single day, to be able to use the restroom every day, maybe even 2 times a day, to be able to just have the most energy. I really do think there is power in extremely reducing your intake of dairy and then saving it for when you really want it. But again, you have to look at the overall picture of what you're doing. And if you're consuming animal products galore and you're like, I can't live without my chicken every day. I can't live without, my eggs every day. I have to have these. Then also think about, okay, well, I'm consuming animal products through dairy and maybe my dairy sources aren't so quality. So I'm gonna maybe, back off of that a bit. But again, when you're looking at the dairy, try to figure out, because I know a lot of people that just cannot do the cheese, but they can do the grass-fed butter. And that's pretty much me. I know a lot of people that can, just do the whey protein. It doesn't disrupt their GI tract, but ice cream and, milk and all the other things do. So, let's use our brain. The cream, heavy cream, that really shouldn't be a part of your day-to-day unless you're having it as your creamer in your coffee and you're doing a little dollop. I think a lot of times too, when we try to get away from dairy, we go into the world of vegan, plant-based dairy, which is not dairy at that point, but lactose-free dairy, all the vegan dairies. And then now it's got all the canola oil, soybean oil, coconut oil, and all these other artificial flavorings and colorings. And so it's like, you might as well just do the straight up dairy, right? So it really is a balancing act with it. But again, if you have a severe reaction to dairy, it could be a far deeper issue, and 9 times out of 10 it is. You could have an autoimmune issue, and so a lot of times it just exacerbates these issues. If you already have celiac, if you already have some of these other issues, it's going to make it worse. If you are estrogen dominant, I don't think that most people should be consuming a lot of dairy who have polycystic ovarian syndrome. Because it will probably make it a little bit harder for you with your hormonal journey. So that's not to say, again, everything needs to be all or nothing. I am not an all or nothing, black or white type of person. Myself, I don't live that way. And when I coach and come up with customized plans, I really want to know exactly what you are doing in this moment, what you do as a family, what is important to you to have, what you enjoy eating, what really makes you feel like a pile of poo, but you really want to sprinkle it in. So why does it make you feel like crap? Can we figure out a way for you to be able to eat it and incorporate certain things to kind of minimize that inflammatory response? There's all different ways to go about it, but I just wanted to kind of come on here and talk through that. So again, digestive enzymes can help. Quality dairy products in moderation, of course, and remembering that whey protein is usually that hidden culprit because you're doing it every single day. And a lot of people, they're like, I don't know what it is. I'm always gassy. I'm always bloated. And I just feel like I'm always backed up and I can't go to the bathroom. And, I know I don't do well with dairy. And then I'm reviewing and I'm like, but they have whey protein every day. So the second that I take them off of it, and not to say I force anyone to do anything, but usually people are like, I want to feel good, especially here when you feel bad here, it's the whole day is off. I mean, let me know if you agree in the comments. I feel like if you have a little bit of a headache or cramps or whatever, well, cramps kind of go with here, but if it's anything else that's in pain or not feeling optimal, you can pretty much kind of like scoot through your day. But if this is like, you're like, I haven't gone to the bathroom in a day and a half. For some people, it's been 3 days. I'm tooting up a storm. Like, it is a bad day. It's a bad day, friends. At least, God, I can't remember, knock on wood, the last time I haven't been able to go to the bathroom or I've been so gassy I couldn't leave the house. But there was a day. There was a time. And it was not fun. It was not fun. So if you want information about the at-home gut microbiome test that will help you figure out the things you really are intolerant to, and then they do give you the digestive enzyme blend that's best for you, then let me know. Drop Viome with a V in the comments after I post this. But you can get digestive enzymes anywhere else. And then also to kind of go into the whole thing that I posted about yesterday about boosting metabolism and really helping with weight loss. If you are still looking for best protein powder, I suggested having green tea in the mix, however you do that. But the green tea is actually in my protein powder, and there's only 3 ingredients, and it's plant-based. There's individual flavor boosts that you put into, it's 1 single serving. So you get a big bag of unflavored protein, and then you choose a couple different flavors per order for your protein. And I love it. And so, yeah, when I was thinking of green tea, I'm like, okay, what's in green tea? And then I remembered, I'm like, oh my God, I have it every day in my protein. So anyhow, if you want information on that, you get the first order is 30% off. The same company, I get their creatine, I get their protein, I get their electrolytes, which they call hydration, and you can choose between caffeinated and non-caffeinated. And it's the first electrolytes I've had that was not salty. If you're like me, you don't like the taste of salt, especially drinking it. So it would be good for you to try that. Yes. And you'll take a headache over uncomfortable any day. Absolutely, girlfriend. And today, ever since, I don't know what it is. This is a side tangent because, we're all friends. I am taking oral progesterone just during my luteal phase, and I think I didn't take it early enough, but then I started my cycle this morning, and typically, like before I started taking progesterone, I'd have cramps and bloating for a couple days, and it was manageable, but I don't know what it is. Ever since getting on progesterone, you would have thought it would help my cramps, but I have the first 24 hours is excruciating. It's excruciating, my friends. So I'm just wanting tomorrow to come so it gets a little bit better. You can't handle gluten or dairy. I know. And a lot of times it's interesting because if you travel to a different country and you have bread and pasta and ice cream there, you'd be fine. So I think a lot of times it's not even the gluten and the dairy in itself. It's the United States and the ingredients we use in conjunction with those things. So anyhow, I'm done. I'm done for the night. So let me know if you want information on Viome, information about anything else I talked about, and have a good night.